Welcome to Mercury retrograde. I hope you guys heard that. Welcome to Mercury retrograde. We're having our part of the technical issues that retrograde does for us. So anyway, this hat is called Femba. It's a beautiful textured straw, textured with a yellow ombre on the edge, and you have that knotted leather, which is yellow, taupe, and the fuchsia in the middle there. Size-wise, it's a 23.5 inch to 24, and it's priced at $185. And I have three more hats to show this evening, three more. So let's do the next slide. The next slide is Pamia, and this is a golden yellow textured straw, nice high crown. For those of you that want a real statement piece, sold a couple of these in New Orleans. It was a big favorite, and it's priced at $185. Pamir is a statement piece, nice high crown, lots of character, lots of personality, and it's again priced at $185. And we'll do the next slide, please. Next slide. This one is called Smooth. I have a few of these. This is a not necessarily a new style, but an old style that I'm playing with those ombres. You've got triple color dyes in there and smooth. They're priced at $165. The one I have on is one of a kind. They would be one of a kind because it's hard to repeat these color combos. And the ombres are just so beautiful when you look at them from when people see you from the back. Definitely bend my head down so you can see all of it. These are priced at $165, and I'm going to do some more of these next week in different color combos. I'm enjoying doing these. Nice width of brim. There's a wire in the brim, so great protection from the sun. You can see the different colors here, and I'll move back a bit, but I'm going to do some oranges and some reds next week, and available on the site right now. Yellows, turquoise, and browns. Go check it out, lipshats.com. And I have one more hat to show you this evening. It's called Mauve, and Mauve it's a lovely deep red with orange and natural wide brim. And Mauve is a one-of-a-kind piece, and it's priced at $205. It is definitely a steady 23.5 inch hat size, playful, organic, flowing, and it's the last hat that I'm showing this evening before we have our guest on. This is Mauve. I'm going to dip it down just a bit. There we go. All right, Mauve. All right, that's my last hat of the evening. Take my hat off and I will get into talking mode, host mode. So right now, I hope you liked those hats, by the way. If you want to purchase one of them, please put it in the comments section or go to my website, lipshats.com, and you can purchase there. There's such a variety of hats on the site. I hope you see something that you like. And thank you always for your support. I'm just going to say a couple more shout outs. Hey, Philly in the house. I see Berdina. Nice to see you. Wonderful. Thank you guys for hanging in there. I know Mercury retrograde is affecting all of us at the moment and giving us some hiccups, but we are moving on. So right now, I have my guest, Maxx Moses out of California. He's a wonderful, internationally renowned muralist. And I'm going to say I've known him very, very well for a very long time. He's also a wonderful artist. He does a lot of canvases. He does a lot of projects in this country and outside of the country. Check him out. He has a wonderful website, maxmoses.com. And also, what's the second website that you have, Max?
Say
Say
words of power.
Say words of power. Thank you so much. All right.
Mhm.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the
Thank you.
Lavalais and Ella live show. Nice
Thank
to
you
see
very much.
you.
It's good to be seen.
Nice to see you, of course. You're looking good.
Thank you.
All right. So,
And you as well.
thank you. We're going to talk about energy and creative energy and just really just flow with that. And you know, you're such a creative individual, as am I. And some of the thoughts I have about that are creative energy. What is it? What is it? What are we tapped into? Big question,
And
right?
big question. So we begin. What is creative energy? It's a good question. Um, Creative energy is, I guess, the easiest way to describe it is inspiration. I think inspiration is the source of creative energy. Creative energy is this flowing. You mentioned that word flowing earlier. So it's just this frequency, this movement that is taking place within us that causes us to want to make something that,
Mm,
and I'm speaking specifically from a creator who uses my hands to make artwork like paintings or sculpture or even music. So yeah, creative energy is like that energy that we tap into, which is considered life, because life is like the life force of all things.
mm,
And I think that as a creator, we just kind of um, tap directly into like the bloodstream of that river of energy that's flowing through and tap into it and grab a hold of it and transform something, transform nothing into something.
do you think there's a spiritual element to it? Like, are we channeling into, you know, like you mentioned, spirit? Like, are we channeling into that as artists?
Absolutely. I mean, you can call it spiritual, you can call it just life itself,
Mm,
Um, you know, absolutely. It is.
yeah.
For me, if you're asking me from a personal point of view, yes, I think that is just so natural. It's a natural thing that um, we utilize. So yeah, it can be considered spiritual by all means.
It's funny how you say it's natural. Perhaps it's natural for us as artists. And I guess
Hmm.
maybe what I'm trying to have in this conversation is just to express to people who are not artists how it feels to be a creative and how it feels to where we're drawing our energy from. Because I get questions all the time. Well, where do you get your inspiration from? And
Hmm.
it's more than that, I think.
I agree. And the thing is, I think for me, it actually just starts from the idea itself of
Mm-hmm.
that, seeing myself as a creator. So I have the opportunity to teach quite often too. So I'm often wanting to just instill this idea that all of us are just creators first and foremost. So you often hear a lot of people say, "I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist," but then they tell you about whatever job that they have or things that they enjoy doing. And I'm like, well, as I'm listening to you, I can tell that, as you mentioned earlier, that you are tapping into this creative stream, even though you're not a painter, you might be a mathematician, but
Right.
the way that you solve this equation or however is a super creative, process.
Right. I agree. I agree. I think everybody has that potential to tap
Hmm.
into. You might be an awesome cook, or you know, or
Absolutely,
a
exactly,
master
exactly.
mechanic, or something like that. There's creativity in that too.
Right. And I think the fact that, like artists and musicians and stuff, we're like the highlights of what creativity represents,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we actually fashioning something into manifestation. But
Right.
all of those other forms of creativity should not be, you know,
Not
dismissed.
dismissed. Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so,
Mm-hmm.
and I think because I feel that there's just a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power of recognizing that you are a creator. Like that's just powerful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we go so that like you're talking about us as creators using our hands to make pieces of artwork. But we can talk about creativity on a whole nother level. Like, so we can talk about creativity of the mind and how we think, and the creativity of our emotions, and how all of those things show up in our life. And all of those things are the manifestations that surround us in our reality. So, you talk about tapping into this creative energy, what we to make pieces of artwork, but here we go again. Our life is a piece of artwork.
Right, right. It's just being self-aware, I think, and I think that artists themselves, they choose that to be their vehicle of their creative expression. And so it's our life journey. That's what we're tapping into. But like you mentioned earlier, everybody has that, well, I think I everybody has that creative potential.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I think it's just about owning it at this point in time.
Right.
Like, yeah, I can't, because the first time you'll meet a person, and, yeah, well, I can't draw anything. I can. So the idea of being a creator artist gets dismissed, and I'm like, no, man, like, pay attention to that. Like, because if I look at myself, and I was having a conversation the other day with someone, and they were talking about therapy and things that they were doing that to keep them emotionally and mentally healthy and well balanced. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm in therapy all the time because I'm always painting. Painting for me is this therapeutic process. I get a chance to, like, through this activity of self-expression, there's a great amount of healing that takes place on a whole nother level, on a whole nother cognitive level that we don't pay direct attention to,
Hmm.
but it kind of works its way out in this unseen way. It's very, very I don't think I'm doing a good job even trying to describe the process and how it works, but it does.
I think perhaps it works through us and then works through the people that purchase what we do as well.
Mm.
Definitely. Hmm.
So what it sounds like you're saying is like they feel the energy from that.
Feel the energy. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I'm sure you know with your work, people look at your canvases and it's you become attached. You feel the energy of the work and you want to take that piece home with you. And it's the same with my hats, and
Mm.
just there's energy in that kind of we put some energy that we're feeling into what we do.
Exactly. True.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Very,
So
very true.
I wanted to kind of dwell on another idea is kind of what practices, well, let me ask you, what practices do you do? And then I'll say what I do in order to stay in tune with your creative energy and not get distracted by the outside world.
Oh, yeah. I don't listen to a lot of the outside world. Of course, I have like my social media outlets and stuff, but I
Hmm.
don't listen to like a lot of news and things of that nature. So I think in answering that question, there's a few different layers, right? So like a lot of the outer stuff that takes place, uh, I'll use this phrase, I don't subscribe to,
Right.
right? Because that's a whole lot, and that takes up a lot of, if I looked at myself in relationship or comparison to a computer, that takes up a lot of my memory space, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I need as much space as possible to create. So that's number one. Wipe some of that, give me more room for creativity. Then I do my own practices that I have. It could be meditation, it
You
could
do
be breathing exercises, it could be exercising, any of these things to help quiet my body, right?
you do
So,
affirmation.
and then, huh?
Do you do affirmations?
I do affirmations all the time. I'm always like programming my mind constantly,
Mm-hmm.
constantly. Yeah, because I don't want to slip into down some rabbit hole of negative thinking and stuff like that. That's why I try to cut off a lot of the outside interference, because it's so easily to slide in that direction. You know what I mean? And I want to keep my mind in this framework where it's receptive, So you're asking me like, what is my practice? My practice is to keep myself in a state of receptivity,
Hmm.
right? Because like there's all stuff happening to us all day, every moment of the day. And how we interpret those things is going to affect the way I think, feel, and act, right? So if I'm receptive and I keep in my mind that no matter what the situation is, it's always for my benefit.
Right.
It's always for my benefit, even how it may appear to look ugly. And I use that word really strongly. It may appear, right? So, like, I like to just look at myself and the way that I take on challenges in life as an alchemist,
Hmm.
if that makes any sense. If it looks like poop, I'm going to transform that poop into gold. Yeah. And that's just what it is. Yeah.
I think we're very similar, and of course we are. We have the same philosophies. I agree with you so much about just looking at something, changing it, being that alchemist, having that, making sure that you stay in that frame of mind that you're able to channel in that creativity. And that does mean cutting out outdoor distractions. It means having uplifting conversations with people and not going down negative conversations. It's about turning off the news. I do not watch the news. I'm
Mm,
aware of it because it's on my
mm,
social media stream, but I feel a lot of anxiety from watching the news, and it doesn't
mm.
feel good. It doesn't benefit me. It doesn't help me to stay in that state of mind to do good and do what I'm supposed to do, which is
Right.
create. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I think that shouldn't be interpreted as I have a blind eye or I'm not
No,
aware of
no.
what's taking place in the world and it doesn't affect me or I'm like, not empathetic to what's taking place. But it's like a choice of what I want to ingest because if I feel that who I am as a human being, I feel like I have a lot to offer the world, right?
Hmm.
So if that is like part of my purpose, then I want to be able to give the purest,
To the fullest.
expression of what that is,
Right.
you know?
Right. I hear you. I really do. I do affirmations as well. There's a lot of mental self-talk that I have
Mhm,
that
mhm,
keeps me centered, keeps me
mhm,
peaceful. And of course, like you said, exercise, yoga, I think that's really important. Whether you go to the gym, ride a bike, whatever, exercise is extremely important to keep me physically in the right state of mind. And then there's the spiritual mental work as well, which is daily.
for
Daily.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep.
Okay. A couple more questions or thoughts.
Okay.
So can create your creativity, your expression, does it turned on all the time? Or do you need time of moments to recharge and like go away and
Yeah,
come back?
definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely. A couple of, I like to go out into nature here in California. I like to go out to Joshua Tree,
Uh-huh.
places like that, and just, connect with the rocks and stuff, Or if not, then I'll just stay in my home and cut my phone off.
Right.
Like there's days I'm like, I have to tell people, like, hey, I'm cutting my phone off for a couple of days. I'll be
Mhm.
back. And you'd be surprised how cleansing that is. Like you're not checking your messages, you're not
I'm
looking
telling
at
you.
anything. You're like, whoa,
Right.
okay, cool. Let me just leave this alone. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I highly recommend turning off the phone 1 day a week. Just turn it
Mm.
off. See if you manage to do that because you'll be thinking about what you might be missing. So, oh, I missed something.
Yeah, you just gotta let your loved ones know in
Right.
advance,
Tell them ahead of
I'm cutting
time.
off the phone. Yeah. I think that's a healthy, because I never forget this quote that I heard about Picasso and people, and I think I mentioned this once before. People were asking Picasso, like, well, how do you keep churning out these wonderful pieces of artwork and like what's your methodology and so on and so forth? And he was like, I always start with a blank canvas.
Uh-huh.
And that's just metaphorical for,
Mm-hmm.
like emptiness. Like
Mm-hmm.
start get as empty as you possibly can, and then
Right.
bam,
Right.
fill up the canvas.
To
Yeah.
be so prolific, yes. I get that question all the time. How do you create so many pieces all the time? I actually do take time off. I go walk in nature every morning. I do take those quiet times, and then when it comes time to really channel, bring it on down, my productivity is very high. I can get it
On
done
and popping,
as
huh?
on and popping. We have
Got it.
a comment from Aku. Who says, "You have a third eye that balances you and your environment, so you can see beyond the immediate." Very true.
Okay.
Very true.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that. Okay.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
And I
That's valuable.
yeah.
That's valuable.
Okay. I'm just seeing all the comments on each side.
Okay.
So I know that you do a lot of projects,
Mhm.
major projects throughout the world. I do a lot of events now, going back and doing shows. Um, is there some kind of energy work preparedness that you do before you start a project or even a canvas? Interesting question, right?
Yeah, you can see I'm thinking like, I don't know if there's anything specific. It's just like maybe it's the this ambition or this challenge to always outdo yourself, isn't
Oh,
it?
really? Okay.
Yeah, it's always about how do I outdo what I just did? Hell
Mm,
yeah. Like that's what it's about. It's like, because you look at as a creator, me personally, I look back and see what I've done or what I'm doing, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't want to stay there though. I don't want to stay there. Let's move on. So, how do I outdo what I like just did before? That is a yeah, I want to. But what and in the process of doing that, make it simpler, more
mm.
efficient, and more potent.
So working lots of facets of that idea, definitely. Uh, yeah, I get that. I think it's also being in the realm of continually expanding. You haven't reached, you're not at a point like, okay, I've been an artist for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever that number is to the artists that we know out there. I'm not staying still. I'm not being stagnant. I'm forever
Right.
growing and expanding and yeah, like you
So
said, being better than I was last week or last month or last year.
and if I may add, you know what I think is playing is a helpful part of that expansion is like once you recognize yourself as a creator, then you know that you can create in a lot of different realms. So
Mm,
I'm a painter primarily, but I do sculpture work. And so I've done some sculpture work, and that sculpture work is informing my painting. And
mm,
I'll go and now I'm really into playing my music. I play the flute, and that musicality is influenced my painting, and my painting is influencing my music. So all of these things, all of these additives are what are adding more flavor to the expansion process.
mhm, mhm. And I guess moving on from that, then, are you infusing that original creativity, that original creative energy into everything that you do?
Yeah, well, that original creativity is graffiti.
Ah, okay.
That is, I never want to ever forget like me and those train yard experiences and, all of that challenge and that fury and that rebellion that first was the first spark of it all. Like, and that I enjoy when people are still looking at my work and they can still see like the energy of graffiti in there. Like, yeah, I always want that to kind of be the rootedness of where I'm going as a creator.
And just very briefly for people that don't know, Maxx, who's also known as Pose 2, is an original graffiti artist from New York, and he relocated 10, 10, 12 years ago now to California. So
15 years.
15, excuse me, 15 years. And so his roots are definitely in the Bronx and in, you know, Queen, the whole of Manhattan, I would say, probably.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you can say Yonkers,
Yonkers,
Yonkers is in the
house.
house for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, any thoughts that you have about creative energy or creative potential? I kind of looked it up a little bit, and I know I call it energy of creativity, but then it's also called creative energy. And I read something about it's the language of the soul, which I thought was
Mm.
quite interesting.
Mhm. So can I, and so all right, so we're talking about graffiti and you just say that, right? So I'll bring up this story of how it's funny because I was listening to a podcast yesterday. That Nas has this podcast called Bridge, The
Uh-huh.
Bridge, and he's interviewing Leequinones. So Leequinones is a huge graffiti artist back in the 70s and 80s, and I loved his work because he painted whole car subways, just super prolific.
Mm-hmm.
And I never forget when I was kind of like fading away from being a rebel and the trains were looking really horrible at this moment in time and people out, other graffiti artists were wondering like what's happening to the art form. Is it fading away? Up on the platform is this whole car train painted by Lee, and it says, "This is the energy of my soul." And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Yo, time to get back to the lab." Like, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, creativity is that. It's that energy of the soul. It's like what your soul has to say. So, nothing can stop that. Nothing can stop your spirit from needing to express itself. Nothing can stop it. We as young teenagers, were on subways, risking getting electrocuted by the third rail and getting beat up by rival crews and all that stuff just to self-express.
Mm. You have Nisi Watson, shout out from NYC. So she's obviously watching and enjoying the conversation.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. uh,
Yeah.
wow. I thought that was so awesome about Lee and this, yeah,
Yeah, the energy of my soul. Yeah, it's
energy of my
absolutely
soul.
that. It's absolute. And I think that's what I learned. I had to, while I was a young boy doing all this vandalism, and my parents and brother, everybody, like all my friends were like, this dude is crazy. Don't hang out with him. He's a criminal, blah, blah, blah. And, so I had this kind of shame attached to me for a while, but I was like, yo, but I love it. And in my mind, it was the most beautiful, powerful thing ever, right? But everyone else thought it was insane. So it took me a long time and I had to do some research to understand what was taking place. So once I started doing some research, right, Ella, and looking up like indigenous cultures and seeing how the cavemen left their mark. And of course, the Egyptians left hieroglyphics and all these stone monuments that are undescribable to this day of how they were built. I
Mm,
realized like the most important thing for us to do as human beings is to leave our mark, to
mm.
be like, I was here.
It's kind of
Like,
a legacy of sorts, right? And
yeah.
the legacy can be some kind of art structure or art painting, you
And
know.
and so, the stronger and the more enduring that mark is, kind of exemplifies the depth of creativity and connectedness of those people.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah, you
know? So
mentioned the Egyptians and hieroglyphics and the wonderful structures that are out there. And I know you've been to Egypt and just look at what was left. It's art. It's
look
art.
what's left.
It's
Like, yo,
so
boom, we talk
yeah,
about leaving a mark. That's a
yeah,
mark.
yeah,
Like, I was here.
yeah.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a mark like time indefinite. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love the whole process.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay, I'm all out of questions. Do you have any questions for me about creative energy?
Really? Wow. Well, I know that you're an enduring, prolific creator. I'm gonna ask you a question that you get asked so many times. You got any men's hats over there? I'm just teasing you.
Yeah,
No, but
I do get asked that a lot, but
so where are you heading? What is next for you as a creator? You've been doing hats. I feel that you've mastered this craft. And I know that you have all these other streams of creativity that you can tap into. So, is there anything else that you're expanding or moving towards in the near future?
well, you talked about other forms of art that you're tapping into, which is, you're talking about your sculpture and other forms, and I may be tapping into other things as well. Right now, I kind of like media. I think it's a form of creativity, and
Mm,
I'm enjoying doing this particular show with Lavalais, and of course the Black Artist
okay.
Marketplace. And so
Okay.
I might be stepping into more of that. But and you know that I paint and I draw as well too. So, and I also went to school for fashion, so I am trained to do clothing. So I do have a lot of facets to me, but maybe like a diamond in the rough. I haven't been polished up yet, and that's part of my journey, to enjoy all of those and to explore. Let's say, let's explore all of that. So
Well,
we shall
if
see
I
where it.
may, if I may tease you on this endeavor of media, because when we first met and you had your hat company, I don't think you had the courage to even speak to a customer. I would be like, okay, let me help you sell these hats here. And now for you to be, co-hosting a show, speaking to hundreds of people at a time shows a tremendous growth. So
Well,
big ups.
thank you, thank you. Yes, for those that knew me a long time ago, yes, I was very shy and very reserved, and Max, who I know as Daniel, was my right hand man, and in partnership, we definitely carved out some wonderful things together. So yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
For sure. Keep
Well,
up the good work.
well, thank you. Hey guys out there, any questions for us as we're here and we've got this subject going on about creative energy? I appreciate you all watching and just taking in everything that we're talking about. But yeah, if you have any questions or if you have a comment that we can expound upon, that would be awesome. Yeah, definitely. What's next for you, Max, as you venture into the rest of the year?
Quite a few projects. Presently, I'm really focused on my teaching right now. I
Hmm.
teach at two schools and also at my studio. I have an exhibition that is opening up on June 4th called The Echoes of Africa with
Okay.
four other artists. It's in collaboration with Mesa College and the African art collection that they have there. So I put together six paintings that were based upon an opportunity to go visit this vast African art collection, absorb it, and then go back and create a series of paintings on that. So I created these paintings that are like masks, like yeah, they're masks with my spin on them. So they're futuristic, they're ancient, they're modern, they're cubistic. They have a lot of these features in it, and of course, it has like these elements of the streets connected. So it's like this fusion of indigenous energy with street
Mm,
electricity.
okay, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. We have a comment from Aisatu. She's in North Carolina. She said
Mm.
she's glad you still have your New York accent while living there on the West Coast. We still claim you as our own, she says.
I'll never give that up. Are you kidding me, man? You can't give up your New York calling card. Nowhere, nowhere,
That will get you throughout the whole world, right?
nowhere. That's
Where are
golden.
you
That's
from? New
golden.
York.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
golden.
definitely.
Yeah,
Well, it's
we can't.
wonderful to hear about the exhibitions that you have coming up. I know you're doing traveling as well, which is awesome. Um,
Yes.
yeah, we hope to see you on the East Coast sometime soon. Maybe doing an exhibition on the East Coast.
That would be good. It's been a while since I've been to the East Coast doing
Mm.
any kind of exhibition, and I'm really working on like more series of paintings right now. So yes, I'm looking forward to that space where I really want to like do more where I'm fusing music with art. I want to create not just the gallery exhibition, but more of like these experiences, where like, yeah, it's like almost, I want to make it where it's like almost a ceremony,
Mm.
like it's that touching, it's that rich that every painting you have this encounter with music and it's just more fulfilling. I want it to be an experience.
Well, like right, I like a real powerful resonance, like, as you're looking at the artwork, is to, I guess you'll compose some kind of music to go with that particular exhibition or
Yeah,
that canvas. And I
exactly.
kind of see it like, okay, you have maybe an individual melody for each canvas. So it's almost like you go up to the canvas. This is right off the top of my head. You go to the canvas and you press the button and the music comes on that is related to that canvas.
Hmm. Yeah,
That
and you journey with it,
you journey with it, yes, yeah, and perhaps go more into depth of where the artist really wants to take you,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
possibly,
you
right?
you
Okay.
tapped into the idea. Yes.
I'm always tapped in. I
Okay.
am always.
Okay, Ella.
All right. Thank you
Well,
so
thank
much
you for
again.
having me.
Oh, was great. Love the conversation, and I hope you will come back again.
I'd love to. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Enjoy.
wonderful. All right. So I'm going to say good night to Max, and then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information about what's coming up. So good night, Max.
Good
And
night.
I'll be talking to you soon.
Take care.
Oh, Lindy says hello. She's on the chat. Okay.
Oh, nice. Hi, Lindy.
Okay. I hope you enjoyed the conversation that we had today. It was kind of Uh, and I just want to let you know about Dance Africa in Brooklyn, which is where Lavalais is this weekend. It's a 3-day weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Go check him out. He's right on Lafayette, right outside of the Brooklyn Academy of Music. And I also want to let you know we have our Juneteenth event coming up, June 17th. If you're an artist out there and you would like to be a part of our event, please email us blackartistmarketplace@gmail.com, or you can message us through our Facebook page, okay, which is Black Artist Marketplace. Also, please share with everyone that you know about all the good things that we're doing here. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will get notified every time you come on. Go over to Instagram, make sure you follow and like us on Instagram, and check out our website as well, blackartistmarketplace.com. And finally, Black Artist Marketplace shop. Go check out the merch. Go purchase a BAM t-shirt or a BAM hat or a mouse pen. There's plenty to choose from on there. Okay, we will see you next Friday, Lavalais and Ella live show. I unfortunately will not be here, but I hope that Lavalais will be, or maybe we'll do something that pre-recorded and you will get to see us. All right. Thank you guys. I'm seeing all the comments. I'm glad you liked the show, and we will do it again. Have a great, great evening. Good night.